Newcastle County is having a job fair at Garfield Park, the PAL Center, Wednesday, March the 26th, from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. So make sure that you come with your application, with everything there to talk to everybody about getting a job with Newcastle County. If you have any if you need any more information, you call the Human Resource Department. With the number is 395-5180, and you can ask for my good friend Will Jones. He's a great friend of mine, and he's a good man for Tom Gordon. Also, the next announcement. Saturday, we have a sickle cell. It's called the Spotlight Sickle Cell Disease Fashion Show. It's Saturday, March the 29th, 3 p.m. at the Carline Hotel, 1612 North DuPont Hotel. Okay. The number for more information is 322. I hear the mayor and the council president already talking about me. 322-3135, or the other number is 743-6199. And that's for sickle cell disease. And come out, they're gonna have a great fashion show. So also, I would like to dedicate this show to a few people. One of them is my older brother, Ronald Cephas, who took good care of me to keep me straight and taught me to play ping pong, bought my first pair of Converse sneakers. Also my cousin, Lamont, we call him Lump. And my mother, Mabel Cephas, who did a great job to keep me in check, which was very hard. And one of my friends, whose name is Emmett Foster, his mother's name is Mabel Foster. The show is dedicated to these four people, these four great people. But tonight again, I'd like to start with the mayor and City Council President THEO GREGORY. How both of y'all doing?
Fine, thank you.
Okay.
Doing good.
Okay. We're going to jump right into this. One of the things I want to ask you, and this is for both of y'all. I want you to explain what is your elected duties as a mayor and what is your elected duties as the City Council President. And the reason why I'm asking you these questions is because I know people might call up your office and say, Mayor, my electorate is not paid. What, can you pay my bill? And if you don't pay their bill, or they call your office and say the same thing, and you know what, you're not a good mayor, you're not a good president because you won't pay their bills. So can y'all both explain y'all duties, elected duties?
Well, the mayor is the CEO of the city. It's like running a corporation. The day-to-day operations, the departments, and the functions of the city of Wilmington come through the mayor's office. And we do pay people's electric bill, by the way.
Okay.
Not with city funds. It comes out of most of my staff in my pocket.
Okay.
People who have issues, we don't want people to walk away. We don't do that all the time, but sometimes when there's people in dire straits, we do help them. But it's the day-to-day operations. It's run by the mayor's office. It's like a CEO of a corporation. All the departments and police, fire, public works, housing, finance, it's come to the mayor's office.
Okay.
But the charter mandate for City Council as the legislative branch is to provide legislative oversight over the various departments, and oversights are very, very narrow. We don't manage, we don't run the departments, but through budget processes and through other processes, the various committees should be there to inquire about what the departments are doing, to make sure that the community is informed about what the departments are doing, but it's not our job to be administrators in that regard in any way whatsoever. We do get involved in constituent services because people call us. We try to handle it on the 9th floor if we can, but not if we can. For the most part, we refer it to the constituent services offices in the city. Some stuff we do, but we don't do a lot of constituent services.
Okay. And I'm gonna be back and forth with my questions. So, Mayor, okay, you were sworn in on your your 60th birthday. You look so young. On your 60th birthday, but you broke the tradition by being sworn in at Northeast Elementary School. And what was your reasoning for that?
Well, Julius, that's the elementary school I went to. I came from the Riverside Housing Projects, and as a kid, since I was in the 3rd grade, I always told my friends I was going to be the mayor of Wilmington one day, and I think a lot of them thought I was crazy because during that time, I don't think there was one African-American mayor in the United States. But I felt compelled to go back to my old neighborhood because I wanted children to see that you can do anything you want to do when you put your mind to it, and not make excuses and fall on things as a crutch is why you can't make it in life. My parents were divorced when I was 9 years old, and I'll tell you, people give up on a lot of kids when they come from a single parent household, and they feel that person or that child is already going to be doomed for life, which is not true. I wanted to give those children hope. I wanted them to understand that I had the same circumstances that they had, and I wanted them to understand that all they have to do is buckle down, stay straight, get their education, get some great role models, and move on with their life. And that's exactly what I did. I had 2 older brothers, and my father did stay involved in my life, but I had a lot of mentors, Hicks Anderson, Maynard Jones. I could go on, Mr. Webster. I could just go down the ladder and just name these folks. And these are folks who helped me and keep me straight. But I knew all the time. I used to ride around in Mendenhall Court on my bicycle and tell people I was going to be the mayor one day, and here I am.
Okay. Theo, you have a serious passion for education and children. What are you working on now to help the kids?
Well, I'm looking at various pieces of legislation as it relates to that comes from the state and the federal government. I think a lot of legislation is very regressive. I don't think that it really takes into consideration the needs of this unique community. I know that the mayor is aggressively putting teams of people together to look at education. I'm a part of that, and in fact, I have a meeting next week with a group of people to look at education.
Okay, and Mayor, I've heard you, let me just go here. One of my good friends is Sean Allen. You sent Sean, let me explain. Sean is the Deputy Director of Parks and Rec. You sent Sean to Chicago. Can you explain why, what's going on?
Well, we sent Sean to Chicago. It's a program that used to be the old ceasefire, but it's now called Cure Violence. Julius, I had a mentality of constantly making arrests, but when you keep making arrests, after you go back and you back up and look down at the field a little bit, you see you're putting out fires and it's not working, and lives are still being lost. I knew there's 2 other components that we had to figure out. One is going to be employment, which we're working on now. But that second big piece is the interrupters. We need people out on the street before people get shot, before people get injured, to be able to communicate and mediate with folks and have folks put guns down. We need folks to go into these emergency rooms where these people have been wounded and sitting down and talking to them with family's permission and hospital permission and explaining to them the next time they may not be so lucky to survive their gunshot wounds. And this is what Cure Violence is all about, and this is what we propose to do. We're going to hire some people, and we're also going to have those folks come in from Chicago and rate us and grade us and make sure we're doing the right thing. This is one of the reasons why we didn't move so fast. We wanted to do it right. We sent him out to the training, and we're going to do it right. We are not going to hodgepodge something and put it out there, and it's not going to work. It's going to blow up in our face. We are going to do it right. We're going to take our time, but this thing will be up and operational. We're hoping between now and probably May or the end of April. We got to do it right. It's a major part of this project on reducing the violence in our city.
Okay. Theo, if you want to add, I have another question for you, but if you want to add something, you can. If not, I'll ask you another question.
But the interrupters is another word for youth workers, I guess, and the focus there is to the eyes and ears on the street and hopefully to change behavior. You can, if you can change behavior, you can prevent a lot of things that's going on. So I think it's a great idea to have the Cure Violence or the interrupter program here in the city.
Okay, and this question's for you too, Theo. You served 24 years on city council from 1984 to 2008 as a city council. Okay, what has changed in 4 years? And before you answer that, also, what have you learned? I know for me, I've been the president mostly my adult life, and I was out of office for a while, for 4 or 5 years. But for me, I left for medical reasons. And the medical reasons was the membership was sick of me, I was sick of them, so they, you know what I mean? But they came back and brought me in, back to office. What have you learned in 4 years, and what's the difference?
You mean the 4 years I was away, or in the 24 years that I served?
The 4 years you was away in right now.
Well, city council consists of 13 people. They're all strong personalities. They got elected because they're strong personalities. They all have an idea of how they think the city should run. You have a strong mayor form of government, and you have a strong city council form of government, but the city council is only as strong as 7 people or 9 people, depending on the situation. So you have to manage it in such a way that you can galvanize 7 people or 9 people and not causing them to compromise their principles and values. But there has to be a process for dialogue, a process for ensuring inclusion, and I'm very much into ensuring that we have inclusion and taking the bits and pieces of what people think and trying to walk together as one voice so that we can be a meaningful city council.
Okay. Mayor, and again, this, both of y'all can chime in on this. I've heard you say, seen in the paper that, you can't arrest your way out of this. Job creation. I know you're doing something with Local 55 Union. John, I think it's John Blauer. Yeah. Talk about that a little bit if you can.
Well, they picked the 50 people out of the East Side neighborhood, and we pretty much took economic development funds and paid for these folks' tuition, and we're using parks and recreation and transportation to take these folks to and from. Because we didn't want these folks to go down there and start saying that we can't get here, we don't have no transportation, we can't pay these fees. But when you give a person an opportunity to get their way out of a situation that they're in, and you're going to help them financially and also with transportation, there's no excuse not to finish the program. And we know that there's going to be some homes that will be renovated in that particular area. And when these folks come out of these classes and finish and be certified, they're going to be the ones rehabbing these homes. Not only that, I've been sitting down with a bank for probably the past couple of weeks, and I can't talk about what the name of the bank is at this point, but they're working right now diligently to find a very large sum of money. And I'm not talking about job training, I'm talking about creating jobs for folks in the city of Wilmington who don't have college degrees. And we know this is one of the things, like I talked about with the cure of violence, this is the third part of this situation. If you do not employ people and you don't teach people how to mediate instead of initiating violence, the only alternative you have would be to arrest. And if people in this country do not invest in people that are unemployed, it's going to be a problem. For every person that gets shot in America, the taxpayers pay for it. When they have no insurance, if they're critically wounded, they become paralyzed and go to a nursing home, you pay for it. Look at your Medicaid on your pay stub, it continuously goes up. People who are killed, the taxpayers pay for it. If there's no insurance, you have to go to the hospital, you have to be treated. Hospitals cannot turn you away. Hospitals pass that on to Medicaid. The taxpayers pay for it. They did a research study, the CDC did probably 15 years ago. The African male was an endangered species. The rate of violence cost this nation $748 million. That was 15 years ago, it's probably double now. And do you think that money is going away and nobody's retrieving it? Absolutely wrong. The hospitals are getting paid by the federal government because they're going after Medicaid. So I tell people all the time, you say it's not you, you don't want to be bothered with it. Well, it is you. You're paying for it every day with this violence in the streets. If people don't get shot and they get caught with firearms, they go to prison. You pay for those people to be in prison for years, $36,000 to $38,000. The cost of prisons are going through the roof. If we do not find a better way, prisons are going to bankrupt this nation.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to make a comment, we'll go to the next question.
No, I'm fine. Go to the next
question.
Okay.
Mayor, when will you appoint your chief of police?
Well, we just sent out information nationwide, and I'm no big hurry to do that either. I'm looking at between now and probably in the end of April or May, but nobody's going to rush me to do that, and I'll make the decision who the chief is going to be, whether it be in-house or on the outside. I have a board that's going to recommend 5 or 6 people to me, and I'm going to look at these individuals, but I'm not going to something that you just cannot rush through. You rush and you put somebody in, and the next thing you know, that's not the person you wanted. I'm going to take my time. I know people are antsy. They want to see who the chief's going to be, but the new chief will be here before the end of spring. Okay. I can say that. Also, the state has a $40 million state deficit. How will that impact the city of Wilmington's budget? Well, I don't believe in all that $40 million deficit.
That's fine. That's a hypothetical. That's too early in the game. Everybody always come up with money at the end. Okay.
Well, because once in a while we both do hypothetical. Let me ask this one.
Well, we presented a budget to city council, and we can't depend on what the state has at this point.
If you assume that the state was going to get the city some money from its operating budget, then we won't get it if it's $40 million deficit.
That's
if you make that assumption.
Right.
But that's not the case.
Okay. Well, I can tell here that both of them are on me, so we're going to go to the next question.
No, that's the truth. We telling the truth.
Okay.
It's $40 million now, but July the 1st they found $267 million. Right. I was chairman of Joint Finance.
Right. Well, but again, these are questions that the people we need to know out here who don't know, who's not into politics, and who's counting on you guys to do the right thing to help us out. Mayor, you had Let me see if my glasses back on. Okay. Last night you had the UNCF ball last night. How did that go?
Oh, it went very well. I think we had close to 1,000 people. The ticket sales were great. Some people didn't come, but mostly all the tables were filled. The reception room was filled. Some of the private events they had earlier were all sold out. I think it was great, and I think it's something that this city never had before. And again, we come, thinking outside the box. Our move is to bring every group we can here to Wilmington. We want to make a change. We want people to know this is a not Sleepy Hollow. This is a great city. This is what we're proposing. This is what we're selling. We have a natural waterway here, which is a gem, and most people who have a waterway in their cities are thriving, and that's what we want Wilmington to be. We're not thinking inside that little square box anymore. This is not Mayberry, and I say it all the time, this is a city, and we want what the large cities have, but on a smaller scale. And we're going to sell this city, and we're going to be out there. We're going to be spending money sending people to different cities, trying to lure different types of organizations to come here, set their events up. We're going to be working when Philadelphia gets the Democratic Convention, the spinoff. We're going to try to get here in Wilmington, Delaware. They can't hold all those folks there to be all on the East Coast. Almost $300 million will be spent a day, almost in Philadelphia, with that Democratic Convention, and we want some of it.
Right. Yeah, you want to?
Obviously, it was a great affair. I think people enjoyed themselves. I think people appreciated the mission of the dinner, and I'm looking forward to having more in years to come.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Also, last week, I want you to talk about the United Coalition of Black Political Science Convention last week. A lot of us didn't hear about it. Can you talk about that?
It was an outstanding affair also. I take my hat off to economic development, especially Stephen Williams. We gave him that project. He turned that project into a great success. Most of those folks I spoke to, a lot of those political scientists said they would be back again. They liked Wilmington. Some of them would come here to visit, but the convention was great. The reception from the elected officials were great. They had a ball. They had the closing party at the library. I mean, they were really happy about how they were received here, and they would definitely want to come back. When we sat down and negotiated with them to come, we gave the city sponsored a breakfast, the mayor's office, and we told them what we would do for them. We'll reach out to them, and first they didn't know if they were going to come to Wilmington, and then we finally got them convinced, and we assigned Stephen there. Stephen wasn't doing any projects, but working with them. They really like the city, and several of those folks that I talked to, some of them live in New York and commute to D.C. every day. Now some of those folks are thinking about moving to the city of Wilmington.
But what is it, and who are they?
It's a group of professors, black political scientists, and they talk about the social issues, civil rights, discrimination, voting rights, stop and frisk. It was a multitude of things. They had several workshops. I peeked in 2 or 3 of them, and it's good stuff. I mean, stuff that people need to sit down and listen to, because it's everyday things that affect our lives.
Okay. You want to add?
Those kinds of events are always an asset for your community. I went to the reception, but you have a lot of people that come. There are a lot of direct dollars spent and a lot of indirect dollars, so it's good for your economy.
Okay. Now, a lot of people think that, which I know you guys work well together, but a lot of people wasn't sure. What is the mayor's office and the city council office, what are y'all collaborating on together that y'all could talk about? Something that y'all working on together for our community?
Running the city.
That's right.
Can you go a little deeper? Please.
Well, I quite frankly think this whole issue of public safety, I think it's a partnership. Sometimes it may look rocky, but I think it comes together as a partnership in terms of the mayor's 3-sector department plan, the TAPS program, the Shot Spotter program, his situational policing, theory of policing. I think that the cure violence, bits and pieces of that have been talked about by various council persons. You get into this thing of which came first, the chicken or the egg. It doesn't matter, in my opinion, which came first. The fact of the matter is, all these things are happening now, and it's being driven by the administration. But I can say that various council people have some influence in causing some of those things to come to fruition. So I think we worked on it together. Being the legislative and executive branch of government, when you're working on something, it's not as smooth as skating on ice necessarily, but we do skate on the ice together. We dance together, but it's difficult to say what the name of that dance is, but we get there.
Miss Plant used to be here. She would call it the hucklebuck.
No, we do okay.
Miss Plant would call it the hucklebuck.
But we do okay. You know, if we do okay. Let me leave it at that. We move forward.
Mayor, you got this grin on your face, and this is again for both of you guys. Short term and long term, what would y'all like to see? Because everybody got to have a short term plan and a long term plan for the city of Wilmington.
Well, short-term plan, Julius, is obvious. It's stability, financial stability, public safety, economic development. And long term, I'm looking at bringing more people into the city of Wilmington for more housing, condominiums. We need another tax base. We need more people to move here. We need to get our books in order so we can be stable financially. That is very critical for me, because if you're not stable, it's like running a home. If your home is not stable, you will not survive. But once your stability starts with your finances, your public safety, and economic development, everything else is pie in the sky.
I think the mayor said, I think we have to address how do we get more money into the city of Wilmington. We have basically 5 avenues for getting money at this point in time. The state has 19 plus, but we have to find ways of increasing our revenue, firstly. And secondly, I think that we address crime, but I think that the sense has to be that we're doing our best, because it's going to take a decade to get ourselves out of this in terms of a multifaceted approach that the mayor just mentioned. But people have to have a sense that, yes, you're moving forward. And I believe education is big. We have to do something. We've got to have a voice in education. Without a voice in education, our kids are not going to be successful. We're being handed cookie-cutter approaches to educating our kids from the federal, state level down to the city. And I don't think it's right. It's absolutely not right for us not to have a voice. There are some universal principles that the local schools committee put in place. Senator Henry, I believe, through a commission, through the Senate, they put some things in place. The city council put some things in place years ago. But there's some universal principles that have to be executed if you're gonna teach this a tough inner city, we call it at risk, but at promising population.
I also would like, and I'm trying to fight for this now, to get certification, get training at the Port of Wilmington, but I would like to see the city, a lot of these young guys, if they get job training, whether it's pipe fitting, whatever type of training, we need training. And a lot of kids can get jobs. A lot of these jobs, these kids, I know down the port, there's a couple businesses outside. A lot of the man, one of the owners was asking me that a lot of these guys can't ride a forklift. They need people to come in knowing how to operate and do different things. I met with Chris Coon's people. We need to see, and they're looking into trying to get some funds for training. Academics is great, but we still need job training.
We hear this all the time. People are looking for funds for training. Yeah, come on. How many years is it going to take you to look for funds for training? We hear this all the time. This is one of the things that I have a problem with. Everybody's looking, but nobody's putting the money on the table. And this is the problem. We can't keep running on this treadmill over and over again. Can't keep doing this. But people are frustrated. People are frustrated in the streets because they have no job. A lot of these young people are frustrated because they've dropped out of school. A lot of them have gone back, gotten their GED. They have so many diplomas now, they're gathering dust on the shelf, but they have no employment. You cannot continue to train people and not put a decent wage in a person's pocket. It is not going to work. That kind of stuff frustrates people. People will not come to the table. Why do you think these job fairs have fallen off? Go to them. They're not packed like they used to be because they're not hiring these people. Most of these employers, if you've been out of work a year, they don't want to look at you.
I agree with you.
It's totally unfair to keep bringing people out and saying we're going to help you, we're going to do this, when all they're going to get is a piece of paper that's going to gather dust. And that is frustrating when people have to feed their families and do things. There is more fraud going on with insurance now for people who've never been arrested because they're trying to survive and trying to make it. Is it wrong? Absolutely it's wrong. There are people who doesn't even have records that go out and get $100 and buy some dope, try to sell it to make a few dollars. And then they get caught and they're a convicted felon and now they're going to prison. Don't even have a prison record. It is bad, and people are tired of hearing all these promises. They're tired of it.
Well, I know, again, at the Port of Wilmington, we had 30 people made our union. We have so many people coming down and we're trying to get trained. I remember, Theo, when we came to you, we was Greg on TV, on city council, about trying to save the Port of Wilmington against this giant energy company. We got the phone call, and you was there, that the company backed out. The business community, union and non-union, we broke down and we cried. Theo Gregory came to me. He said, "You saved a whole lot of jobs." And I'm letting this community know, if this would have happened, Delaware, if the Port of Wilmington had went down, it would have been, I can't even think of the word that what would have happened. And again, I want to thank Senator Marshall for Senate Bill 3. I want to thank the mayor. I want to thank all you guys who supported us and supported to save the Port of Wilmington. Because again, and we're talking about good blue collar jobs, and almost left. Again, we're talking to the mayor of Wilmington and the city council president THEO GREGORY and Mayor Dennis P. Williams. We will take your phone calls, so give us a call if you want to ask the mayor questions, or if you want to ask city council president THEO GREGORY, which I consider two great men who love the city of Wilmington and love the children of Wilmington. So if you want to call, I see the phone is clicking. All right. Hello, you on the air?
Good afternoon, good evening. Julius, this is Keith Booker. I'd like to say hello to you, to Mayor Williams, congratulations, and to THEO GREGORY.
How you doing?
I have a quick question. First of all, congratulations for all the hard work that you continue to do for the community. It's a lot of work, and you got to stay on top of it. And I appreciate what all y'all doing. My question to both the mayor and to THEO: is anyone in City Hall doing anything to send out, I guess, a congratulations, some ceremony, activity, a naming of the event for the first African-American mayor of the city, Mayor James A. Seals? Is there anything in work, or is there anything we, the community, can do to get something started? Thank you very much. I'll hang up and listen.
Okay. Thank you, Keith. Go ahead. I'll let both of y'all answer that.
Well, I think Mayor Seals has gotten numerous awards. I myself wrote a resolution, a tribute in the House of Representatives, and talked about his accomplishments. And also, he was on our website with Black History Month. And also, Dr. Seals is working with this administration right now for education. I think that he has received numerous accolades, being the first African American mayor of the city of Wilmington, and maybe it might be something that we might need to look at in the very near future and do something more elaborate, I would say, instead of resolutions and announcements.
THEO.
Yeah, being the first African American mayor, certainly there will be some brick and mortar tribute to him in due time. Not to be crass, but typically a person is older, or they've moved on, or and sometimes deceased before something of any monumental proportions is named after a person. That's typically the tradition in communities. But certainly he is due something to be named after him, and I'm sure that the city fathers, either now or at that time, are going to do right by him.
Okay. And what I believe, Keith, because Norman always talks about this, people want to get the roses while they're here. And I think what they're saying is that they want to see a building, something named, and they want to do it while he's here, so we can give it to him, watch him cry, watch him family, not after. I think that's what a lot of people were talking about. But I'm going to take another phone call.
That could be appropriate. That could happen if the moon and stars line up the right way.
Hello,
Yes,
you on the air?
Julius?
How you doing, Dwight?
Yeah, pretty good. Hello, Mayor and City Council President. It's really good to see both of you guys sitting there on Norman's program this evening. I just want to take my hat off to both of you, because I think that ultimately what needs to be understood in the city of Wilmington is that both branches of government, the legislative and executive branches of government, that you don't always have to agree with each other. There has to be a system of checks and balances. But I want to thank you for working with me, trying with the American Beauty Academy, trying to address the issue of unlicensed barbers and cosmetologists, and as well as working with the Motivational Center's pardon program with respect to those who have past criminal records working towards citizenship. That is such an important issue that at the end of the day, we should be able to hold out the carrot to those who are ex-offenders and invite them back into the family of law-abiding citizens. So I look forward to working with you on this in the future, as well as Representative J.J. Johnson and Senator Margaret Rose Henry. And I just like to say that this has been the best opportunity I've had in a long time in working with our elected delegation, both in the city and at the state level. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dwight. And again, Dwight is a wonderful guy, and I'm glad to hear that. We're gonna take another call. You on the air?
Thank you. My name is Stan Salam, and good evening, Mr. City Council President, Mr. Mayor. Doing some work around a concept called Saving Sons, Not Guns. I think I met with City Council President about it, and I just really wanted to get your thoughts. You think doing something like this and maybe doing a gun exchange program in the city is a realistic possibility and may be able to come about sometime in the near future?
Okay, we're gonna let them. Thank you for the question. We're gonna let them answer the question. Thank you.
Well, it depends on what he's proposing. He said that gun exchange, but it depends on what he's proposing. What are you going to get in return for the guns? Where are you going to do it? The finances that need to be set up, and it needs to be structured. You just can't hold a bucket out and tell people to come and turn your guns in. It has to be a structured, and a whole situation has to be structured where people are going to be there to work this thing out. And I need to know the details.
Okay.
I mean, we did a gun buyback before in the state. It cost close to almost $300,000. I don't think that gun buybacks are 100% successful, but if you get 4 or 5 guns off the street, it does mean something. We are looking at in the future that we put on hold for a little while. We were doing the food for guns, and we're still going to bring that program back. But so many things happened. We had all these snow problems, and we had to hold up because we were running out of money. But we are still going to do that food for guns. We have several supermarkets and major chains that want to give away. I'm talking about real food.
Okay.
For people to turn in firearms, and if we can get that, and also some type of stipend of cash money, if we can work on that and do that, we will.
Theo.
You have to tailor it in such a way that you're getting guns off the street from Wilmington. The last buyback was on the peripheral of the city in the county. I was down in South Bridge when it was being done, and most of the folk were from out of town and out of the state.
That's true. Okay,
It was dropped in off of 95 and 495. So we have to get it into the inner city.
It was old.
Where
I was there watching. It was old raggedy shotguns,
yeah,
and
they
made a killing.
in the city.
And most violent offenders are not going to give their guns up anyway.
Can we go ahead? You on the air? You got to turn your TV down, please.
All right, no problem. How you doing?
Okay. Got a question?
This is Mr. Watkins, Michael Watkins. I was just calling in reference to the city council on the behalf of Mr. Dennis Williams.
What's the question, sir?
I'm going through a lot in life, dealing with my kids. They got. My question is, I've been trying to get a job for almost 5 years now in the city of Wilmington.
Okay, well, when you get a chance, call the Port of Wilmington, because the port hires a lot of people. You come off the street, you got to get a TWIC card, but call the Port of Wilmington and get some information and come on down, see how we can work something out. Thank you for calling. Go to the next question. We'll go to the next question. Okay. Hello, you on the air?
Thank you, Julius. Good evening, Pastor D. Good show, man.
Thank you, Pastor D.
I have, first of all, congratulations both to Mayor Williams and Council President Gregory, because a picture, it said, is worth 1,000 words, and the two of them being strong black men and very consistently moral and decent and caring black men has more value than anything we could say. But I do have a question for the mayor and a question for the council president that I believe are relevant based on things they have shared. I also want to point out, while it has not been publicized, under the Williams administration, more guns, according to law enforcement officials, have been taken off of the streets in Wilmington since his election.
surrendered, actually, without payment than in the history of all the gun buybacks. And while he will not toot his own horn, I know this to be true because I've witnessed it. So, Mayor, you succeeded in working with people who aren't typically worked with by previous administrations and people. You have crossed the personality line. Dwight alluded to it. I'm talking about it, and I happen to know there are a number of people. You seem to have decided to not be influenced by people's opinions, but rather by your own judgment. I wonder if you would share with the community, one, if that's true, two, how other leadership in other parts of government can benefit. City Council President, if you would, tell me how we as citizens can express our legitimate discontent with respect to recent complaints we've read about in the paper.
Okay, wait a minute. Let him answer. Let him answer the questions. I'm trying to get a lot of questions in. So
I'm going to hang up. That's
okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you for the call.
Well, first of all, you know, Julius, I always say I don't play playground politics. You want to take your toys, go home. I'm looking for solutions now. I have no time for the foolishness. If people are going to jump up in town and beat on their chest and just criticize everything we do, then I just go around you and keep moving. Sherman, thank you if I have to. I'm looking for people who really want to work and who really care about Wilmington. I don't care if they dislike me. I don't care if they don't believe in my philosophy. If they can bring something to the table, they're going to be at the table because they can get something done. And that's what we're supposed to be about, representing people, not our own selves and not our own personalities and what makes us feel good and what makes us not feel good. We have to realize that we were elected by the people, and that is our boss. When things are happening that have to be taken care of, I'm going to bring whomever to the table and work with them. I got a lot of criticized about bringing Pastor D on. I got criticized for some other people I aligned myself with. But you know what? The folks that are criticizing, I sat them down in my office and said, show me your dossier. What have you done for Wilmington? But take, and take, and take. They got up and walked out. Because you know why? These are people that believe in negativity and criticism. And when you constantly bring that negative energy around you, you get nothing done. First of all, Julius, I believe in the Almighty. And that's number one, because I know my body armor's on every time I come in. I'm not worried about the soul, because I know who protects me every day. And I'm going to sit down, I'm going to work with everybody who's bringing solutions to the table. And that's just the way it is.
Okay. Well, you could answer the same question, but I do know, again, I'm a product of Brown Boys Club. I'm a product of not having a father in the house. So I'm a product of recreation, George Gray's recreation. One thing I can say for City Council President THEO, he's done a lot for so many kids. I know my boy T.Y., all three of his kids went to University of Delaware. I mean, two of them graduated University of Delaware, one at Delaware State, because of the track program that THEO Gregory implemented, some of the football programs that he implemented. And I know this man here, the mayor, I've seen all the things that come out of his pocket, all the kids he helped. So I know both of these strong men have done a lot of great things for our community, especially for our youth, both of them. If you want to add, I'm going to take it.
Now, let me just say this on track and field. I was not the architect of that. I was fortunate and blessed to be able to join Art Madrick with one program, and Art had been around for years, so I joined his program, and I can't, but I helped to keep it afloat financially. And then Joe Coppage started the other program, and I was blessed to go with that program, and again was able to be in a position to provide financial supports. But I was not the architect of either one of those programs. Well, but I was there, assisting as a coach and financial.
You only as strong as your team.
I'm fine.
Period.
But I just don't like history be written on me, and I don't like to rewrite history on other people. So let's just.
I'm gonna take one more question. I'm gonna take one more question. Both of the mayor and the City Council President have other engagements, and we're gonna get their final statement. So this is the last question. Go ahead. You on the air?
Hey, how you doing, Joyce?
How you doing?
This is Sean.
Hey, Sean, my main man.
How you doing, Mr. Mayor? How you doing,
How you
President?
doing, Sean?
How you
Mr.
doing?
President, I just wanted to call in real quick to give a little clarification and thank the City of Wilmington and the Mayor for allowing me to go out to Chicago and take a look at the evidence-based model of cure violence. Just want to give a quick distinction between a violence interrupter and an outreach worker. A violence interrupter, and first of all, violence is being looked at as taking a health approach towards violence and looking at violence as disease. And as Mr. President talked about, violence is a learned behavior. We're not born with violence, and we must stop the transmission before it starts and before it spreads and turns into an epidemic, which it is here in the city of Wilmington. The interrupters are individuals that goes out and stop violence before it starts. Outreach workers are individuals that deal with individuals with high-risk behavior, individuals between 16 to ages of 16 to 25, individuals that are gang bangers that hold weapons, that are looking for a job. So there's two different, outreach workers are individuals that work with youth and that become mentors out in the community that try to get young people to not pick up guns. If they are picking up guns, to put guns down. This is an evidence-based program that has been started up in Chicago, started up in Kansas City, Philadelphia, New York. So it shows that it worked. The first year that it started, violence was cut down 67% in the city of Chicago. Now it's in 22 cities in Chicago. It's a very great program. The time is coming. The time is now. I know that it'll work if we get the right people out here that are committed to helping their people and helping these young people in the community. I learned so much out there that I will share later on moving forward. And I just wanted to call in and just give that little brief information about the difference between the two.
Sean, before you hang up, I would hope that Norman will give you an opportunity to bring your team on to talk about, to give you an opportunity for your team to talk about this program that when you went out to Chicago. I think it's great. And always great hearing from you, Sean. All right?
Take care, Sean.
Yeah, well, let's say this in closing. It's just not my team. I'm a part of a team. I'm a part of administration and part of a hospital. I'm hoping that soon we'll be able to come on and give you a better synopsis of this whole project. Thank you.
That's why you're my man. Okay. But again, I'm going to ask the mayor and the city council president to have a closing statement in 1 minute. Also, before if I turn it over to both of them, I also want to thank again Senator Marshall for raising the minimum wage, putting the bill in for the minimum wage, and I must again thank him for the Port of Wilmington. But I'm going to turn it over to the mayor for a closing statement, and I'm turning it over to City Council President THEO GREGORY for a closing statement.
Well, Julius, real quick. I mean, I'm elected the mayor of the city, and I'm going to do my job 150%. And again, like I said, I'm born and raised here. I love this city, and I'm going to do everything I can to turn Wilmington around. Wilmington's a great city. We have great people here, and we're going to make it. We are definitely going to make it.
I'm just blessed to be here. I'm on my now 62-year life journey, and I'm glad that my journey has ended me here at this point in time, and I'm blessed to be in a position to serve people.
And Wilmington, tonight, we had the two great leaders here together. My man.
You do realize you're not great when you're going through. Only history tells that.
Well, you know what? You call it your way, let me call it my way. But again, I would like to say thank you again. These two, they messing with my shoes. He told me all I need is a hat and a straw.
That's all you need.
That's all we need. Again,
set of dice.
Again, thank everybody for tuning in. And Nina, I love you, and I'll see you later. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.